Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Amid Trump tariff threat, Brazil President Lula dials PM Modi. Both reaffirm commitment to strengthen India-Brazil strategic partnership. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval meets Russian President Putin in Moscow amid Trump's tariffs on India over Russian oil. Says Putin's India visit dates almost finalized. Netanyahu plans to take complete control of Gaza as warnings mount, while Hamas says the remarks are a coup amid ceasefire talks. France's biggest wildfire in decades will continue to burn for several more days, but under control. 16,000 hectares affected, an area bigger than Paris. Dozens of homes destroyed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a telephone call from the President of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, on Thursday. During the talks, Prime Minister Modi recalled his visit to Brazil last month, during which the two leaders agreed on a framework to strengthen cooperation in trade, technology, energy, defense, agriculture, health and people-to-people ties. Building on these discussions, the two leaders reiterated their commitment to take India-Brazil strategic partnership to new heights. The two leaders exchanged views on various regional and global issues of mutual interest. PM Modi and Brazilian President also agreed to remain in touch. PM Modi in social media post stated that he had a good conversation with President Lula. PM Modi thanked the Brazilian President for making my visit to Brazil memorable and meaningful. PM further said, and I quote, "We are committed to deepening our strategic partnership, including in trade, energy, tech, defense, health and more. A strong people-centric partnership between global South nations benefits everyone." Brazilian President also posted on social media about his telephonic conversation with PM Modi. President Lula stated that PM Modi and he discussed the international economic scenario and the imposition of unilateral tariffs, as Brazil and India are so far the two most affected countries. They also reaffirmed the importance of defending multilateralism and the need to address the challenges of the current situation, as well as to explore possibilities for greater integration between the two countries. The Brazilian president also confirmed the holding of a state visit from Brazil to India early next year. As a preparatory step for the visit, the two leaders agreed that Vice President of Brazil will travel to India next October on the occasion of the Trade Monitoring Mechanism meeting. The leaders also exchanged information about the virtual payment platforms of the two countries, including PIX and India's UPI. They also talked about the successes of the BRICS summit in Brazil and working together for the transition to next presidency of the bloc, which will be led by India. All right, indeed, India's Akshay Dongre joins us on this story. Hi, Akshay. Very good morning to you. Akshay, yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Brazilian President spoke to each other on a phone call. What details do you have on this, and what did the two leaders discuss?
Well, broadly, it was about the bullet points that you have already discussed, Siddharth, about multilateralism, about his visit to India, about how the two countries can enhance the trade ties together. But, you know, we all are aware of the underlying issue, the most important issue why this phone call becomes even more important, and that is the threats coming in directly from the top US government, officials, including the President of the US, who has slapped a 50% tariff on both Brazil and India. So that clubs these two countries together. Incidentally, both of them are from BRICS. Both of them have close trade ties as well. And Prime Minister just visited Brazil just a few days back. So as far as the relation is concerned, it's quite strong, and it's strengthening in this in this situation where both the countries are forced to look for alternative trade partners, and it seems that both of the leaders are getting along quite well. In fact, President Silva has on multiple occasions has quoted Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Chinese President Xi Jinping, and other leaders from the BRICS, probably hinting at a paradigm shift as far as Brazil is concerned when it comes to the trades, when it comes to ties between countries of the global south, and also a very important point, Siddharth, as you rightly mentioned, was about the defending of multilateralism. So as far as the multilateralism is concerned, we have seen that after the Cold War, several poles around the world had emerged, moving away from the bipolar world of Soviet Union and the US. And then later, after the collapse of Soviet Union, it was just the US for about a decade. And then, other countries like India, China, Russia, Brazil, other countries of BRICS started forming up with major economies. So perhaps that's something that is worth defending for these nations to stop the world moving back to either a unipole world or a bipolar world.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so much for all these updates, Akshay. And India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, during his recent visit to Moscow, confirmed that Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to visit India. This came after NSA held talks with President Vladimir Putin on Thursday in Moscow. During the meeting with Putin, two leaders discussed ways to further strengthen the Russia-India special and privileged strategic partnership. The two leaders also emphasized the importance of joint efforts in preparation of the bilateral summit by the end of this year. They also discussed cooperation between Russia and India in multilateral formats and exchanged views on topical issues of international security. Earlier, NSA Ajit Doval also met Secretary of Russia's Security Council Sergei Shoigu. Doval described the India-Russia ties as very special and emphasized the strategic depth of relationship.
We have got a very special relationship, a long relationship, and we highly value our strategic partnership. We have had high-level engagements, and these high-level engagements have contributed very substantially. We are very excited and delighted to learn about the visit of His Excellency, the President of Russia, President Putin, to India. I think that the dates are almost finalized now. The more important thing is this, that is, these summit meetings have always been the watershed points.
Strengthening green partnership, India on Wednesday officially handed over the first batch of 10 electric buses to Mauritius. High Commissioner of India, Anurag Srivastav, handed over e-buses to Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam in the presence of ministers, junior ministers and senior dignitaries. The High Commissioner described the buses as moving symbols of our friendship and commitment to a cleaner and greener planet. While PM Ramgoolam recalled the historic state visit of PM Modi to Mauritius in March and highlighted this e-bus project as a paradigm shift in public transport and a symbol of the special relationship that has stood the test of time. He highlighted its role in reducing emissions, cutting fuel imports and creating jobs in e-mobility. He appreciated India's role in high-profile infrastructure and future-ready sectors, including blue economy, AI and technology, food and maritime security. Moving on to West Asia, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday that Israel plans to take full control of Gaza but does not intend to govern it, as he convened his security cabinet to discuss updated plans 22 months into the war. Netanyahu said that Israel wanted to hand over the territory to Arab forces that would govern it. Netanyahu told Fox News that Tel Aviv don't want to keep the Gaza Strip, which Israel took over in 1967, but withdrew troops and settlers in 2005. He was expected to seek the cabinet's approval for an expanded offensive, which could see ground troops operate in densely populated areas where hostages are believed to be held. Netanyahu's government has insisted on total victory over Hamas, which ignited the conflict with its deadly October 2023 attack on Israel from Gaza.
intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do. We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza from the awful terror of Hamas. And you were in the Gaza Strip today. You met Palestinians who are fighting Hamas because finally they see that they have a future. They can rid themselves of this awful tyranny that not only holds our hostages, but holds 2 million Palestinians in Gaza hostage. That's got to end.
Hamas, meanwhile, termed Netanyahu's remark on Gaza a coup amid the truce talks. Hamas, in a statement on Thursday, said that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's remark that Israel intends to take military control of all of Gaza constituted a coup amid the ceasefire negotiations. The statement further reads that Netanyahu's plans to expand Israel's Gaza offensive show his aim is to sacrifice Israel's own hostages to serve his personal interests. Prime Minister Netanyahu met Indian Ambassador to Israel JP Singh at his Jerusalem office on Thursday, and the Prime Minister and the Ambassador discussed the expansion of bilateral cooperation, especially on security and economic issues. PM Netanyahu then met with senior Indian journalists and answered their questions. Taking another step to secure peace in the region, Lebanon's cabinet approved the objectives of a US proposal for disarming Hezbollah by the end of the year, along with ending Israel's military operations in the country. Lebanon's cabinet met on Thursday for the second time in days to discuss disarming Hezbollah after the Iran-backed group rejected the government's decision to take away its weapons. Information Minister Paul Morkos said the cabinet endorsed the introduction of the US text without discussing specific timelines. The objectives of the US proposal include phasing out the armed presence of non-state actors, including Hezbollah, deploying Lebanese forces to key border and internal areas, ensuring Israel's withdrawal from its 5 positions, resolving prisoner issues through indirect talks, and permanently demarcating Lebanon's borders with Israel and Syria. The US proposal aims to extend and stabilize a ceasefire agreement between Lebanon and Israel brokered in November. Meanwhile, US welcomed the Lebanese government's decision to task the Lebanese armed forces to bring all weapons under state control.
This is an important step towards Lebanese sovereignty. We continue to watch developments in Lebanon very closely. Special Envoy Tom Barrack made it clear what the president needs to see. As long as Hezbollah retains arms, words will not suffice. The Lebanese armed forces must fully commit and act now to fully implement the government's decision. The credibility of Lebanon's government rests on its ability to match principle with practice.
Thailand and Cambodia today agreed to a ceasefire involving all types of weapons and to refrain from further deployments and movements of troops along their common border, which was a scene of recent fierce fighting. Both sides also agreed not to undertake provocative actions that may escalate tensions. The agreement was reached at the end of a 4-day meeting of defense ministers of both sides, with the United States and China as observers. According to the agreement, both countries will implement the ceasefire and formation of ASEAN Observer Team led by Malaysia to verify and ensure its implementation as reached at the special meeting on July 28. And still to come on DD News Hour. US President Donald Trump is expected to host the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia. The United States doubled its bounty on Venezuelan president. More details ahead. Stay tuned. Also, Ghana's president promises a thorough investigation into a military helicopter crash that killed 8 people, including ministers. You're watching DD India News. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. President of Azerbaijan and ExxonMobil signed an energy deal on Thursday at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in Washington, D.C. ExxonMobil Vice President John Ardell and Azerbaijan Minister of the Economy Mikhail Jabarov signed the agreement. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev stood behind them. The agreement comes a day before U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to host the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia for an official peace signing ceremony at the White House on Friday. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the U.S. will also be signing bilateral economic agreements with the two countries. Officials said that they will sign a framework aimed at reaching a concrete pathway to peace and addressing a long-simmering transit issue. Turkey and Senegal signed 4 cooperation agreements in various areas and pledged to expand their cooperation. The agreements, including in education, multimedia and military, were signed by officials during an official visit by Senegalese Prime Minister to Ankara. Osman Sonko was welcomed with an official ceremony by Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan. After the various agreements were signed, Erdogan said during a press conference that cooperation opportunities, particularly in investment and trade, defense industry, counter-terrorism, energy, mining and agriculture were discussed between the two leaders. The United States on Thursday doubled its bounty on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who faces federal drug trafficking charges and whose most recent election victory was not recognized by Washington, to $50 million. The previous bounty was set in January at $25 million. In 2020, during President Donald Trump's first term in office, Maduro and other high-ranking Venezuelan officials were indicted in federal court in New York on several charges, including participating in a narco-terrorism conspiracy. The Justice Department accused Maduro of leading a cocaine trafficking gang called the Cartel of the Suns that shipped hundreds of tons of narcotics into the United States over 2 decades, earning hundreds of millions of dollars. In a video on social media, Attorney General Pam Bondi said he is one of the largest narco traffickers in the world and a threat to U.S. national security. Bondi said Maduro also had worked with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua and Mexico's Sinaloa cartel.
Today, the Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country. To date, the DEA has seized 30 tons of cocaine linked to Maduro and his associates, with nearly 7 tons linked to Maduro himself, which represents a primary source of income for the deadly cartels based in Venezuela and Mexico. Cocaine is often laced with fentanyl, resulting in the loss and destruction of countless American lives.
Reacting to increased bounty, Venezuela termed it as pathetic and ridiculous. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Yil said in a statement on Telegram that the pathetic bounty is the most ridiculous smokescreen they have ever seen. And also, France is facing yet another intense heat wave that has lasted for the past 2 months. In many cities, temperatures have crossed 40 degrees Celsius. The extreme heat has also led to wildfires, especially in the southern parts of the country. Authorities have issued red alerts and are advising people to stay indoors during the hottest hours and keep themselves hydrated. Rohini Gosavi files this report. Have a look.
France is facing one of its worst heat waves in recent years. In June and July, temperature raised about 40 degrees Celsius in cities like Paris, Bordeaux and Toulouse. Dry air and rising temperature caused massive and largest wildfire in south of France. More than 13,000 hectare area burnt out. Nearly 2,000 of firefighters and water-bombing aircrafts are fighting and saving the lives. Experts are saying over and over again that climate change caused the heat waves.
Even though we're on this global warming, increasing temperature kind of ladder, on top of that we always have variations, and some of those are due to, for instance, to this NSA phenomenon. And in 2023-24, there was a strong El Nino, and that typically boosts temperatures above that kind of ever-increasing ladder, and now we're still on that ever-increasing ladder.
This intense heat has had serious effects on people. French Health Department confirmed nearly 500 deaths during June and July, mostly among older people, children, and those who work outdoors. At the same time, more than 400 people drowned while trying to cool off in rivers, lakes, or the sea without taking enough safety measures. People are struggling hard to keep themselves cool as temperatures keep rising.
For older people and for the children, it's very difficult, but even for us, I mean, for me also, it's very difficult. We're much more tired. It's very difficult to sleep at night. And so if it's just 1 or 2 days, it's okay. But when it lasts for more than 1 week, I really start to be tired by the heat.
Recent years, the temperature were increasing, so we are obliged to go to the south of France and to discover other countries like Spain, Italy, where they have more beaches and seas. But if we're staying here in Paris and seeing the sun, we have to put our hats, put our sunscreens. So yes, and here in Paris we don't have the notion of air conditioners, so we are obliged to open our windows and to pray to God to give us some good weather.
Many outdoor activities stopped due to heat. More than 200 schools were shut down right before summer holidays. The top floor of Eiffel Tower was shut down. Cities like Paris turned into ovens. Metro trains become too hot to use, and people are using public fountains as places to cool down.
I go to the park with the tree and swimming pool. It's very difficult for me.
Normally, I stay in my home and I close the door, the window, tout ça. Yeah.
Scientists say climate change has made this heat wave 3 times more deadly, and August brought new heat warnings with new spikes of temperature. And such conditions are no longer unusual. This has become the new normal. France faces now clear warning. Such heat waves come often, stay longer, and feel even worse. Expert says we must act fast to save people and fight climate change. This is Rohini Gosavi in Paris for DD India.
Canada is sending troops and Coast Guard personnel to its easternmost province on Thursday to confront wildfires that have forced hundreds to evacuate as the country endures one of its worst fire seasons on record. According to the official data, wildfires across the vast country this year have already burned 7.1 million hectares of land, an area roughly the size of Ireland. With hot, dry conditions expected to persist across several regions and 730 active fires burning, the damage this year is almost certain to pass the toll from 2 decades ago. Hundreds of people have also faced evacuation orders this week in the West Coast province of British Columbia. In recent years, Canada has experienced warming at least twice as fast as the rest of the globe. Firefighting aircraft were seen flying over a fast-moving brush fire in Ventura County, California. The fire has burned an estimated 1,051 acres and remains 0% contained. According to local media, evacuation orders have been issued for parts of Los Angeles County, including the Val Verde area and Oak Canyon. The areas near Hasley and Romero are also under evacuation warnings. Japan's weather agency issued a special heavy rain alert for the southern region of Kagoshima on Friday, warning lives are at risk. The deluge follows a period of punishing heat in many parts of Japan, with national record temperature of 41.8 degrees Celsius. Official of the Japan Meteorological Agency told a press conference that Kagoshima is seeing heavy rains that it has never experienced before. The Met Office warned people to stay safe and moved to buildings located even slightly away from streams or cliffs, or to buildings less prone to flooding. The JMA official also urged residents to evacuate without waiting for orders from municipalities. Meanwhile, domestic flights at Kagoshima Airport were cancelled due to the rain. The ongoing third United Nations Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries in Avaza, Turkmenistan discusses ways to make landlocked developing countries into land-linked trade competitive and climate resilient countries. Attending a roundtable, Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma stated that LLDCs are excluded from opportunities and promises of prosperity due to structural barriers and persistent inequalities. He called for strong support to help LLDCs overcome structural disadvantages through financing, policy support and partnerships. Prime Minister Oli emphasized the critical need for enhanced international support to complement national initiatives to fight climate crisis and climate change-induced disasters. On the sidelines of the conference, Prime Minister Oli held various bilateral meetings with leaders of Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan. He also met CEO and Executive Director of World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies. And Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama promised a thorough investigation into a military helicopter crash that killed 8 people, including 2 senior government ministers. The crash, which occurred on Wednesday in the Adansi-Akrofuom region, claimed the lives of Defence Minister Edward Kofi Omane Boama and Environment, Science and Technology Minister Alhaji Dr. Mutala Mohammed, along with 3 other passengers and 3 crew members from the Ghana Armed Forces. Mahama said in his televised speech that an investigative board of inquiry has been set up to investigate the cause of the crash. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders have been retrieved.
And as we mourn, questions about the cause of this tragedy are only natural and important. And I want to assure the families and the nation that the Ghana Armed Forces has initiated a full and transparent investigation into the circumstances of this crash. An investigative board of inquiry has been set up to investigate the cause of the crash. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders have both been retrieved.
Chilean investigative police launched an investigation into the deadly collapse at the El Teniente copper mine that claimed 6 lives last week. A video released by Chile's investigative police shows forensic teams gathering evidence inside the world's largest underground copper mine as part of a criminal investigation into possible safety violations. In response, state-run copper producer Codelco has requested approval from Chile's mining regulator to reopen part of the mine. The company has also assembled a panel of international experts to audit the site and assess if the quake was natural or caused by mining. Indigenous women in Malaysia are breaking gender norms by becoming wildlife rangers, protecting endangered gibbons and leading in conservation. These women, hailing from one of the country's most marginalized indigenous communities, are part of Malaysia's first all-female, all-indigenous wildlife ranger unit. Trained under a conservation program led by a local organization, their mission is to safeguard the country's endangered gibbons. Malaysia is home to 5 species of gibbons which are endangered due to habitat loss, hunting and illegal pet trade. The organization cares for nearly 30 rescued gibbons, with the women rangers playing a key role in their rehabilitation. The Water Civilizations Gallery opens in Turkey's Talas district following the discovery of 2,000-year-old rock-carved water cistern or a water storage tank fed by melting snow from Mount Aegeus, one of Turkey's tallest mountains. The water would collect in the ancient cistern. Discovered by chance about 6 months ago, the cistern was cleaned and transformed into an interactive gallery. The water cistern is active and still in use. Still to come on DD India News Hour. We'll give you updates from monsoon session of the Indian Parliament. And we'll also tell you about the crucial role of Indian Army in rescue operation in Uttarakhand's Dharali.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of the headlines. Amid Trump tariff threat, Brazil President Lula dials PM Modi. Both reaffirm commitment to strengthen India-Brazil strategic partnership. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval meets Russian President Putin in Moscow amid Trump's tariffs on India over Russian oil. Says Putin's India visit dates almost finalized. Netanyahu plans to take complete control of Gaza as warnings mount, while Hamas says the remarks are a coup amid ceasefire talks. France's biggest wildfire in decades will continue to burn for several more days, but under control. 16,000 hectares affected, an area bigger than Paris. Dozens of homes destroyed. The political heat inside Indian Parliament continues. The National Committee for Protection of Media Persons Bill 2024 will be introduced in the upper house. The bill to provide for the establishment of National Committee for Protection of Media Persons for the effective prevention of violence. Several other key bills will also be introduced in Rajya Sabha or the upper house of the Parliament. The names of the bills are up on your screen. The lower house of the Parliament or the Lok Sabha to take up the National Sports Governance Bill 2025 for consideration and passing. The National Anti-Doping Amendment Bill 2025 will also be taken up. The Indian Ports Bill 2025 to move that the bill to consolidate the law relating to ports, promote integrated port development, facilitate ease of doing business and ensure the optimum utilization of India's coastline will also be discussed. Other key bills will also be introduced in the lower house for consideration and passing. All right, our correspondent Dibendu Mondal joins us on the story, who's tracking the monsoon session very closely. Hi Dibendu, a very good morning to you. Before asking that, what is expected in the Parliament today, Dibendu, I want to ask you, can you just shed some light on the key highlights of what was discussed yesterday? What was the highlights of the monsoon session of Parliament yesterday? What was discussed? What all is expected? We'll ask you later.
Well, Siddharth, this monsoon session of Parliament, apart from the debate that happened on Operation Sindhu, this has been a literal washout because of the repeated protest by the opposition parties on the floor of both the houses. And we have seen repeated adjournments from the chair of both the houses due to the continuous protest that has been happening on the floor of the house. But having said this, the government is committed to, pass through key legislative businesses in the house. The first, on Monday itself, we saw some key legislative businesses such as, the passing of the lading bill. Also, the merchant bill was from the shipping ministry. A couple of bills from the shipping ministry was passed. Yesterday, we also saw Nirmala Sitharaman passing through the appropriation of Manipur bill, sailing through that bill in the Lok Sabha, because remember, Manipur is under President's rule, and all the financial matters of the state of Manipur will now have to be passed through the lower house of Parliament, which is the Lok Sabha, and therefore that bill was introduced by Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday, the Union Finance Minister, and that bill was also passed later in the afternoon in the Lok Sabha, after which it was adjourned because of this continuous disruption. We also saw the representation of the scheduled tribes and giving powers for delimitation to the scheduled tribes, parliamentary and legislative constituencies in the state of Goa. Bill 2024 also being passed in the Lok Sabha this week itself. So, the government is trying to sail through legislative businesses despite the ruckus that has been created in both the houses, because the government is clear that the opposition cannot hold the house at ransom at the cost of the development of a nation. Because, if the parliament doesn't function, legislative businesses are stuck, and the government's development programs also get stalled, and the opposition cannot hold the country at ransom with their protest on the floor of the House. So the government is clear. Whatever important bills that the government has planned to bring on, they will be discussing and passing that bill on the floor of the House, despite the continued protest from the opposition side. Siddharth.
Dibyendu, you also mentioned, while beginning your answer today, that we have seen repeated adjournments, and we are also witnessing repeated protest by the opposition. Seems like since the beginning of the monsoon session, it's like sort of a strategy which is adopted by the opposition, isn't it, Dibyendu?
Well, Siddharth, absolutely. This was a well-crafted strategy of the opposition parties, where they have decided that they will not let the House function. In fact, both the houses, the parliament function in this particular monsoon session, because of the fact that they think that they will be raising that issue of SIR, which is the Special Intensive Review of electoral polls in Bihar, given the fact that, so that's it, this is not just, a protest on the floor of the House. They have been protesting outside as well. This is pure politics, because of the fact that Bihar election is just a couple of months away, and, the opposition is trying to rake up this issue on the floor of the House, trying to corner, in fact, the government on this particular issue. But the House and the chairs of both the houses are absolutely clear on this fact that Election Commission is a constitutional body.
Yes.
And this particular matter is currently sub judice in the Supreme Court, and therefore a matter which is sub judice cannot be debated in Parliament. So therefore, but despite that, this is the rule of the Parliament. But despite that, the oppositions are continuing to protest on the floor of the House, giving a sense that this is a strategy that they have crafted, well crafted, in their strategy meeting to corner the government and hold the House at ransom. But the government is again clear that they will have the House function amidst protest, amidst this sloganeering from the opposition parties, because they want to sail through key legislative businesses of the government that they have planned to brought in. So, Siddharth, yes, this is the strategy of the opposition party to corner the government, and we will see this continued through the rest of the monsoon session, Siddharth.
Definitely, but the government stance is clear. Dibyendu, now very quickly, what can we expect today?
Well, there are certain key bills in both the houses of Parliament. Today is a Friday, so on a Friday there are multiple private members' bill that is allowed on the floor of the House. But we'll of course see whether the House functions well or not. But yes, the government will be passing through in the Lok Sabha the bills, the two key important bills of the sports and the anti-doping bill in the lower house, which is very crucial for the youths and the sporting community in India, given India is planning to target Olympics in the coming years. So therefore, this will pave way for India to get to participate in the Olympic bidding. So therefore, this is a very crucial bill which will be tabled by the Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia in Lok Sabha, and that bill is likely to be passed in the Lok Sabha today. So therefore, and also in the Rajya Sabha, there are key bills that are expected to be brought in, and some of the bills could also see the light of the day amidst the protest. As we spoke, there is another bill from the Shipping Ministry called the Merchant Shipping Bill that is likely to be introduced. In fact, I beg your pardon, that bill has already been introduced in the Parliament. We could also see a passing of that bill in the Lok Sabha today as well. And the Merchant Shipping Bill has already been passed in the Rajya Sabha.
Okay, thank you for all those important updates. Dibyendu, we'll keep taking updates from you as and when required. Thank you so much. We leave it there as of now. And police on Thursday busted a terrorist hideout in forest area of Baramulla district of Jammu and Kashmir on a specific input in the Goguldara Danwas forest. Baramulla police busted a terrorist hideout. 1 pistol, 1 magazine, 9 rounds, 1 grenade and medical supplies were recovered during the operation. FIR has been registered at PS Tangmarg and investigation is underway. Updates on Uttarakhand flash floods now. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami continued to review relief and rescue operations in the Kheer Ganga River area of Uttarkashi district. Under the guidance of Prime Minister Modi, full cooperation is being received from the central government. During this, officials were given necessary instructions regarding the restoration of roads and communications and electricity as well as food supply. With the help of heli services, Mi-17 and Chinook helicopters, a rescue operation is being carried out at a war footing to bring people back safely. He informed that the government is making every effort to evacuate all affected people and safely, in fact, and restore normal public life at the earliest. Notably, secured army communication on satellite and radio relay provided immediately in support of ongoing rescue operations. Stranded civilians spoke to their families through army communication network and satellite internet calls. Additionally, Indian Army is laying lines to restore communication. Further efforts are underway to restore road access severely disrupted at Batwari, Linchigad near Harsil, Gangrani and Dharali. In all, over 225 Indian Army personnel, including engineers, medical staff and rescue teams are on ground to further intensify the rescue and relief operations. Search and rescue dogs are also being used to locate missing persons. Over 70 civilians have been rescued so far, while critically injured people are being airlifted to Dehradun and AIIMS, Rishikesh. Army is also providing medical aid and food to around 200 stranded tourists at Gangotri. All right, indeed, India's Kanchan Negi joins us from Dehradun. Kanchan, a very good morning. What updates do you have as far as the rescue operation is concerned?
Good morning, Siddharth. As rescue operations in the flash floods ravaged Uttarakhand entered the third day on Thursday, August 7, Secretary of Disaster Management and Rehabilitation, Uttarakhand Vinod Kumar Suman, informed that 274 people had been evacuated from Gangotri and other areas to Harshil, all in safe condition, Siddharth. These included 131 from Gujarat, 123 from Maharashtra, 21 from Madhya Pradesh, 12 from Uttar Pradesh, 6 from Rajasthan, 7 from Delhi, 5 from Assam, and 5 from Karnataka, 3 from Telangana, and 1 from Punjab. Additionally, 135 people were successfully rescued from Harshin, with 100 taken to Uttarkashi and 35 to Dehradun. In total, 135 people have already been safely transported to their destination, Siddharth, while 274 remain sheltered in Harshin, awaiting further onward movement. Furthermore, Maharashtra government has contacted like 120 tourists, and they are reported to be safe at an Indo-Tibetan border police camp. To add on, Siddharth, Maharashtra Chief Secretary Rajesh Kumar spoke to his Uttarakhand counterpart Anand Vardhan, requesting all necessary assistance in locating the remaining 31 tourists and facilitating their return. I would like to say that tourists yet to be contacted include 5 individuals from Thane, 4 from Solapur, 1 from Ahilyanagar, 4 from Nasik, 3 from Malegaon, 6 from Charkop Kandivali, and 6 from Mumbai suburbs, and 2 from Titwala. Siddharth, following the devastating flash floods in Dharali, Uttarkashi, rescue efforts have been ramped up. Authorities are deploying ground-penetrating radars and sniffer dogs, with advanced equipment being airlifted to aid in locating those still missing under the debris. The health department has shown exemplary promptness in medical relief work by taking the charge swiftly. Senior IAS and Health Secretary Uttarakhand, Dr. R. Rajesh Kumar, informed that apart from the already existing medical team of the specialists on the spot, 1 doctor, 1 pharmacist, and 2 ambulances have been sent to Dharali through special helicopter service yesterday from Dehradun, along with 7 specialist doctors to Harshil, 7 specialist doctors and 3 pharmacists to Mathli, and 5 specialist doctors to the district hospital Uttarkashi. And the team is providing medical services on the spot in coordination with the local administration. Siddharth.
Crucial information there. Kanchan, I want to ask you any updates on the weather there. Kanchan, any predictions by the weather department?
Yeah, I would just like to say that the weather is clear. Yesterday also didn't rain much, but then because the geographical terrain is such that any moment the weather can change. But thankfully it didn't rain much, and probably the sky is clear today. Siddharth.
Definitely. Also, Kanchan, Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami continues to monitor the situation there. What details do you have on that?
Yeah, I just want to say, Siddharth, that CM Dhami is continuously monitoring the entire rescue operations along with the other officials as well. In fact, the Uttarakhand Chief Secretary Anand Bardhan also visited the State Emergency Operations Center yesterday, and he also reviewed the ongoing relief and the rescue operations in Dharali. Holding the detailed discussions, with the Secretary of the Public Work Department and senior officials from the Border Roads Organization, CM Dhami and Chief Secretary instructed that all necessary resources required by BRO be provided immediately. We also further directed that Martley be designated as a strategic base for the entire rescue operation and emphasized prioritizing the evacuation of the elderly, the sick women and children. I would also like to say that he also informed that Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami is personally monitoring the situation. And the meeting, was also attended by the other senior officials, Siddharth, including the Secretary Shailesh Bagoli, DGP Deepam Seth, GOC Uttarakhand Sub-Area, Major General MPS Gail, ADG, AP Anshuman, and the other secretaries like Dr. Pankaj Kumar Pandey, Dr. R. Rajesh Kumar, Sachin Kurve, IG Fire Shri, Mukhtar
All
Mosli,
right.
the CEO. Yeah, Siddharth.
All right, crucial and important information there, Kanchan. Thank you so much. We leave it there as of now. Monsoon fury continues to batter lives in parts of the country. Several districts of North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh and central India's Madhya Pradesh are witnessing flood-like conditions as rivers are in spate, flowing either close or to above the danger marks. Varanasi and Prayagraj are among the worst affected areas as flood water has entered several low-lying areas. According to the Met Department, heavy to very heavy rainfall is likely in Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh from August 8 to 12. Extremely heavy rainfall is expected in Haryana also. The Weather Department has also forecast heavy rain in Bihar and Jharkhand till August 10. Several parts of Bihar are already facing flood-like conditions with many rivers flowing above danger levels, severely impacting daily life. Still to come on DD News Hour. US President to nominate Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Stephen Miran to serve as a Federal Reserve Governor. And India's Arjun Erigesi begins on a winning note at the Chennai Grandmasters 2025. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And US President Donald Trump on Thursday said he will nominate Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Stephen Miran to serve as a Federal Reserve Governor. Miran would fill the position opened by Fed Governor Adriana Kugler's surprise resignation announced last week as she returns to her tenured professorship at Georgetown University. The term expires January 31, 2026 and is subject to approval by the Senate. Miran has advocated for a far-reaching overhaul of Fed governance that would include shortening board member terms, putting them under the clear control of the president. Trump has unsuccessfully pushed the Fed to cut rates. Miran, if confirmed by the Senate, would have one of 12 votes on monetary policy at the Fed, which voted 9-2 last month to keep rates steady. OpenAI launched on Thursday its GPT-5 artificial intelligence model, the highly anticipated latest installment of a technology that has helped transform global business and culture. OpenAI in a briefing said OpenAI's GPT models are the AI technology that powers the popular ChatGPT chatbot, and GPT-5 will be available to all 700 million ChatGPT users. The AI industry is at a pivotal moment with top developers like Alphabet, Meta, Amazon and Microsoft heavily investing in data centers, totaling nearly $400 billion in capital expenditures in this fiscal year. The surge in spending is driven by the growing demand for AI solutions and the potential for substantial returns on investment. Key players are betting big on AI infrastructure, expecting significant growth and returns as the technology continues to advance and become more integral to various industries. You're watching DD India News. Our time now for sport. And in a landmark development poised to transform India's sports entertainment landscape, Prasar Bharati has signed a strategic memorandum of understanding with AEX Sport to broadcast Global League Wrestling. The league will be unveiled on 17th of September with its broadcasting starting 4th of October 2025. It will air on DD Sports, stream on Waves and be available on All India Radio. Global League Wrestling is the first professional wrestling league of its kind in India and the Asia-Pacific region. Present on the occasion were Prasar Bharati Chairman Navneet Kumar Sehgal and CEO Prasar Bharati Gaurav Dwivedi, who described the move as the beginning of a new era for Indian pro wrestling.
Particularly DD Sports has been trying to rope in as many as sports bodies and sports tournament in its ambit to showcase, bring about more kind of informative sports culture in the country. We take inspiration from our Honorable Prime Minister, who has been a big sports buff, and in fact what the schemes that he has initiated has promoted sports at a very large level, and we now see more and more medals in many other games also coming to India.
This MOU will provide us the opportunity to create some new content here, reach into the hinterland, locate some of those budding athletes, budding wrestlers, and give them an opportunity to compete not only with each other but also with the best of the best.
The highly anticipated third season of the Chennai Grandmasters Chess Series officially commenced in Chennai on Thursday. This year, the tournament sees a significant increase in both the number of participants and prize money. A total of 20 elite players are participating across two categories, Masters and Challengers. The Masters category features 10 world-class players, including India's top talents Arjuna Erigaisi, Vidit Gujarati and Nihal Sareen. The Challengers section also brings together some of India's brightest young stars, including Karthikeyan Murli and Vaishali Ramesh Babu.
We have the Masters section and the Challengers section, and both sections we've increased the total number of players from 8 players to 10 players in the Masters as well and in the Challengers as well. So it's a bigger field, it's a more exciting field. We have 10 Indians in the Challengers section, and we've got in the Masters section we've got 5 foreigners and we've got 5 Indians.
It's a great platform. I've seen how they have organized. I'm very happy that India is growing in other sports as well, and we need to relate it to how we can put this for swimming, like my sport, other sport. Everybody has to learn from each other and help other sports grow here in India.
The National Golf Selection Trial for the participation of Indian team in the Tokyo Deaf Olympics 2025 is being conducted at Sports Center in Greater Noida. The 2025 Summer Deaf Olympics is an international multi-sport event that is scheduled to be held in Tokyo from 15th of November to 26th of November. This will be the first time in the competition's history where Japan will be hosting the Deaf Olympics. The shooting selection trials for Deaf Olympics will be conducted from 11th August to 16th of August 2025. Meanwhile, the final for the golf event will take place on Saturday. Canadian teenager Victoria Mboko conquered 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka to win the Canadian Open title and her first WTA title. Mboko denied Osaka her first tour-level title since 2021 Australian Open, wearing down the Japanese star who has struggled to find consistency. Mboko, who was ranked outside the top 300 to start the season, is now projected to rise to 34th in the world. Before an ecstatic centre court crowd, she converted 8 of her 9 break points, seizing her 4th win of the week over a Grand Slam winner. India's Arjun Erigesi and German Grandmaster Vincent Kiemer got off to a winning start at the Chennai Grandmasters 2025. Erigesi delivered a commanding performance against American Awanda Liang, while Kiemer showed flawless technique to defeat Nihal Sareen. The two victories stood out on an otherwise balanced day in the Masters section, with all other games ending in draws. In the Challengers section, top-ranked Indian players Diptyayan Ghosh and M. Pranesh also registered wins in the opening round. The picturesque Gurez Valley in Jammu and Kashmir came alive this week as it hosted the National Tribal Festival, a vibrant cultural event aimed at celebrating and preserving the age-old traditions of the Doordarshan tribal community. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.